Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cozy Corner Chronicles. I'm Julia.
And I'm Liz.
And we are back with another chapter chat for Lunar Love. Da-da-da. So I think, what did we read? 9 through 12, right?
Yes, we did read 9 through 12. And honestly, it was kind of a roller coaster of emotions.
Yes. And I will say, I think Lunar Love is one of those where we don't really need to go chapter by chapter. You can just talk about the section and all.
Yeah.
And I really like this section of Lunar Love. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute. I thought it was a lot of banter.
Witty. Yeah, definitely. So basically, Olivia gets invited to this all-women's panel podcast. So she thinks. Of course, it's so she thinks. Because it's a romance and what else would happen, right? So she gets invited to this podcast and she's basically going to talk about lunar love and get some exposure because she's really honing in on being present on social media.
Right.
And just bringing lunar love to life on social media because her aunt and her grandmother were totally against it.
Yep.
So then what happens?
So one of the panelists ends up dropping out. And remember, Liv is freaking out because she's like, after this podcast, B.O.B., Bennett O'Brien, is going to know that I am the owner of Lunar Love. Mm-hmm. So her person that she works with is like, no worries. Remember, it's an all-woman panel.
Like you're Gucci.
Yes. So she goes that day and she's like, oh, who's the panelist? And she doesn't know yet, but she's like, okay, wait, I can't. I'm guilty. I got to text Bob. So she's like, hey, can we talk? And then next thing you know, she's asking the person, hey, who's the last panelist? And from the back, you can hear, Bennett O'Brien is here. And it's like, oh, shit.
And the way her jaw was probably on the floor. And so now she's exposed because then the guy.
Yeah, I don't even know his name, Marcus or is that his
whatever.
name?
He was like, oh, this is Olivia. This is Liv from Lunar Love. And he was like, oh, hi, I'm Bennett O'Brien.
And the thing is this is where, and I thought we had predicted this. We were like, there's no way he doesn't know. But guess what? So Bennett O'Brien actually admits he knows that Liv is the owner of Lunar Love, but not for the reason that we think with Kate Girl.
Yeah.
It's actually.
He's been knowing.
And how does he know?
So remember, so once he says this, like that he already knew, she's like, you've been stalking me this whole time. You followed me to the bakery. You did this, you did that. This is it. You set this all up.
Which technically he did except for bakery. Bakery was completely coincidental.
But anyway. Yeah. So he was like, I know because of your grandmother. And then, boom, they have to go onto the show.
Yep. But you know what's crazy is like they kind of have a brief moment where she's like, "How? What do you mean? What do you mean it's my grandmother?" And because he admits right before the show, he's like, your grandmother was the one who matched my parents up. And then Liv is freaking out because she's like, wait, but you said your parents were incompatible. My grandma's never made an incompatible match. That's not possible. You need to tell me right now. And then he's like, no, we don't got time for that. And then that's when Marcus is like, Olivia from Lunar Love. And she's like, crap, I got to go on stage.
Yeah. So they're literally not fighting on stage. They're not. But they're bantering on stage, you know, the usual rom-com-y thing. And then she's like, well, you know what? No. Wait, was it Marcus that said it?
No, it was Liv because they were like, whoever wins the bet gets like free all this stuff promotion.
Right. Okay, so basically she sets up a bet with Bennett O'Brien and is like, I bet I can use Lunar Love to make you fall in love.
By the end of the year. And then Bennett.
And he was like, oh, by the end of the year, I can make you fall in love by the end of the month. And by the end of the day.
Yeah. I know. But I think he says like the end of the month or 2 months or something.
Yeah.
And that's when they're like, bet.
From the competition A?
Yes, because the podcast that they're on like has more people who are really famous. So they're like, oh, well, whoever wins the bet can like get free promotions. Mm-hmm. They'll get a single interview on the podcast. They're like, oh, bet that. Yeah. So Bennett's date is first. Yes. And we had seen in another chapter that Harper, a client who's really successful, was looking for love. Mm-hmm. And I forget what sign. I think she's a dragon. So I think it's rat and dragon because he's a rat. So she sets Bennett up on the date with Harper.
Yeah.
And
she's doing a little spying.
Like,
she's got
actually,
her
like
sunglasses on. And then he walks over and brings her a tiramisu.
Or no, it was like a matcha mochi thing or something.
Something. Yeah. He brings her a dessert, okay? And he's like, you didn't think I would notice you sitting in the back corner who wears sunglasses at night.
Literally. And it was so funny because she's like, shit, does Harper know? He's like, no, she just thinks you're really dedicated.
Yeah.
But it was cute because, like, as they're describing on the date, it's like, I think they went to a beer garden or something. Because it was like dancing beer garden and they're having like a good time. And she kind of gets jealous. Like, Liv gets jealous when Harper is like, ah, ha, 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 laughing at Bennett.
But then Harper ends up running into some of her chef friends. And so she ends up kind of getting like distracted while literally Bennett O'Brien and Liv are flirting.
Literally. And I think at this moment, it's like I feel like Bennett's actually very forward. Liv is just too stubborn to see.
Yeah, she's too caught up.
Yes.
She's too caught up.
And because it's annoying. And that's why I'm like, dude, I'm not a Liv stan. I'm a B.O.B. stan.
So then she ends up getting him to spill the beans about his parents. And so she's like, what do you mean? Like, you know, all this stuff. And he was like, I mean, they were good together and da-da-da-da. So then she's like, this is terrible. Run, 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 run. She runs to her grandmother. And she's like, excuse me, do you, by chance, know Ben O'Brien?
Yeah. And she's like,
yeah. And she's like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, did you match his parents? And then so she tells him the story, or she tells her the story, and she's like, yes, I did match them. They were supposed to be a good fit, except B.O.B.'s mom was borderline, and she didn't know.
And she didn't know. Like, she got the time or the date wrong or something
like that. And so it made them incompatible because she didn't give all the right information.
Right. So technically it wasn't Popo's fault, but it's also like, I mean, whatever. Anyway, so that's a thing. And then this is where like her sister Nina is actually getting married to someone who is, so Nina is a sister, she's a rooster, her fiance is also a rooster, so like that's a big deal because obviously two roosters are not supposed to be compatible, whatever. But Nina makes that comment where she's like, you know, if you want to bring Bennett O'Brien to the wedding, like, you can. And she's like, it's not like that, like, girl, it is like that.
And then on her phone she gets a text from who?
Asshole. And then Nina's like, why are you smiling like that? Is it because you got a text from Asshole? And it's because Bennett O'Brien is nicknamed Asshole, right? But he is telling her about like a new launch feature that he's thinking about, setting her up on the date. And the new launch feature is really cute because her favorite flower is a peony. And so he makes this new feature on Zodiac Cupid where each time you go on a date with somebody, you get a petal on the peony, and that shows how active you are on the app. And what does Olivia have to say about that?
She's like, she is like really, really against this because then she's like, well, you're making love a game, and love isn't a game. Love shouldn't be, you know, someone playing with your feelings.
Which I agree with. Liv, you hit there. You did hit there.
You kind of ate 4 plus 4, right? And so she's like, I just don't think, like, she was like, well, what if I have one petal and I match with someone who has a full flower and it blossoms and all this stuff?
I feel insecure.
Yeah, and I feel insecure because I'm only talking to one person. And so he was like, it's not necessarily for that. It's just a show activity. Well, then it looks like I'm not active, but I am. You know?
And I think he was like, I'm still going to use this feature with your date because he mentions, he's like, you seem like the type of person who wants someone who's active but not too active. So if I use the flower system, then I can see who's active but not active for you. So then the next parts are obviously going to be about Liv's date. I'm very curious to see who Bennett O'Brien sets her up with, only because, like I was saying, he seems very forward with her. Like, he at one point was like, are you sure you want to make this bet? Because you, like, he's insinuating that means we're not going to be together.
Or what if it is him?
I was thinking that, what if it is him, right? But is he that bold? I guess we'll see.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was really it. Yeah. Nothing, like, super, you know, super,
like, major. But I was going to say, I really liked it. Like, I think this book it's just cracking me up. Like, it's such a typical rom-com.
Yes.
But, like, you could literally see this as a movie in your head.
And it's funny because, like, you can predict what's going to happen.
But you're still going to read it.
And it's funny because you predicted it correctly. And I know we talked about this too. Like, obviously this is not some super deep read, like, you know, anything like that. But it's, like, a good switch up from A Little Life.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And just reading how, like, not stupid. It's not stupid. it's just like, it's silly.
Yeah.
It's really silly.
And I like it though because the vibes are funny. Like I'm reading it and I'm like laughing. I was reading this on the plane, and I'm like really bad at holding in my reactions when I'm reading. So I'm like sitting here and I'm reading, and like when it got revealed that he knew, I was really like, and the guy next to me was like, like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, just the book's really good. But then I thought about it and I was like, I hope he doesn't think I'm like reading smut and I'm over here like on the plane. You know what I mean?
Imagine.
Because I mean, the book looks real cute. Okay, it's not
It
smutty.
does
Like
look
there's
very
no
cute.
spice.
There's no
Okay,
smut.
so there's no spice. Don't worry, guys. But yeah, so I'm really bad at that. So I don't know. I react very strongly.
Yeah, and I think, first of all, the book is cute.
Yeah.
And I think from, again, we've already talked about this in the last episode, it's not about the Chinese zodiacs.
It's not. That's not what the purpose is.
And like, I feel like now that we've kind of moved past that, it's really showing like the rom-com portion of it, and it's literally hilarious. I feel like you guys have to read it.
Yeah, you guys have to read it. I think we'd 100% recommend this. Like, it's so cute. And I will say as well, I just think that it's an easy read. Like, you don't have to pay attention too much to the details. Like, if we wanted to, we could read the whole book in a day.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that because last time with the fake out, we ended up just reading the whole book.
Yeah.
So we're being good this time. So we not.
Are.
But I could fully just read the book in a day.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know. You guys just have to get it.
Yeah.
And you just have to believe us.
Yeah. Like, just read it.
Yeah. And it's good. It's funny. And if you don't like rom-coms, then don't read it.
Yeah. Like, if you don't like rom-coms, no.
Or predictable books.
Yes.
This book is very predictable.
And I think we did read that in reviews, but I mean, it's a rom-com. Like, it's going to be predictable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that being said, what are we reading, like, chapter-wise next?
We should be reading 13 through 17.
Okay, yeah, 13 through 17. So, stay tuned. I mean, we're about more than halfway through the book, I think, at this point.
We're pretty much halfway.
So, I mean, at this point, we're going to be kicking off, and then we'll wait for the big, finally, when they kiss and
they fall in love, and they get married,
like,
and
they have
honestly,
little kids. And
you know, I'm kind of scared.
Okay, why?
Because Nina, that's her sister's name, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if their engagement's going to happen.
Me too. Okay, I kind of have that feeling because Nina was kind of avoiding all the festivities.
Yes. And she was nervous.
And she kept asking about the compatibility.
Yep.
And she was more interested this time.
Yep.
She was doing research.
Yep.
Ooh, you know what? Oh, you know what I thought about it? What if it ends up that Nina ends up taking over Lunar Love instead? And then, what's it called?
She goes with Zodiac Cupid?
Yeah.
No,
you don't think? Oh,
no.
I guess we'll see, guys. But anyway, see, is it predictable? Because now we're... Anyway, so stay tuned for our next episode. We love doing these podcasts, so please keep supporting. Please keep listening.
And please share, because we're really trying to grow on social media. We also really want to grow on this Spotify platform.
Yeah.
But we need the follows. We need the interactions. We always interact with all of our comments on TikTok, anything like that. So if you guys have any book recommendations, I say this every single time.
We would love it.
We would love to hear them, because we do have some books lined up.
Yeah. We do have some book recs, so...
I mean, we can do multiple chapter chats.
Yeah, please. We could do a whole book. We can go back to our Spark Notes Better. We haven't done that segment in a bit.
Yeah, you know, that one's been a while.
Yeah, so we might have to do that.
That was Stress Mode 10,000.
Yeah, that one really
I was like, wait, I have 5 pages. Let me finish the book.
Literally. But anyways, guys, we are funny people, okay? Like, we laugh at each other and with you guys. At the books, so just support us. We would appreciate it.
And follow us on TikTok,
because
we actually post a lot more on there.
Yeah, we do.
And I mean, obviously, it's because these podcasts take a while, and we only release a couple episodes a week. But you would love us on TikTok.
Yeah, we're funny.
I'm convincing you. More is so convincing me. We're better on TikTok.
We are. But with that being said, we will talk to you guys next time. Okay, thanks so much.
Bye.